Hello everyone, Pocket Programmer back here. Today we are going to be talking about variables. This is just going to be the very basics of variables. Hopefully you're familiar, at least generally speaking, what a variable is, whether it's from math classes or prior programming experience. Variables in Python are interesting in that you don't have to declare what type they are as you start to use them. They're more or less self-declaring. You can run into a little bit of difficulty with this, and hopefully we'll see an example of that as we get through today's lesson. So we're doing variables. We're also going to be doing some math. Hopefully that's something else that you love, like I do. And with no further ado, let's get started. To assign a value to a variable, all you need to do is state what the variable is. I'm just going to call it A equals, and then say what you want it to be equal to, 3. And if I do print A and run this extremely boring program, but you can see it says 3. So I assigned A value of 3. That is an integer, and that was that. If I were to instead call this 3.1 and run again, you'll see my output became 3.1. That is a float value, and as soon as you put a decimal in there, it becomes a float. So those are two variable types that we can have. One that we're going to be using somewhat frequently, I'd imagine, is a string type. And strings have quotes, and I believe with my first lesson, my rock, paper, scissors, we played around with these a little bit. But strings, single or double quotes, and you can type pretty much whatever you want in there. I'm just going to write, I don't know, hi, why not? Close my quotes, and you'll notice the color changes because of the IDE that I'm using. And if I run this, sure enough, it says hi. Big deal. The one other variable type that we'll probably be using with some frequency is the Boolean type, and that is true or false. And if I just say A is true, we can see what happens when this runs. And it just says true. Notice it's not true in quotes. This is not the word true. It is the value true. And that will come into play as we get into various logic things we have. If-then statements. You know, if it says if A, then do whatever. Because A is true, the program would then do whatever. If A was false, it would be something different. All right. Let's back it up just a little bit so we can do some math, and I'm going to set A back to 3, and now I'm going to do another variable of B, which will be equal to 4. And now I can do a few different things here. I can do print A plus B and show that it is in fact 7. But what I'm probably going to be more likely to do in programming is have a third variable and say that C is equal to the sum of A and B. And then I can print C. Now you'll notice the output is the same. The reason for this, if I simply print A plus B, I've given the output of 7, but then I can't use that again without adding those two values again. By setting C equal to A plus B and then printing C, I have now created a third variable that I can reference however many times I need. I can change it further, etc., etc. So addition's not the only thing I can do. I can also do subtraction. So A minus B gives me -1. I can do multiplication, and that is with the asterisk. And that should give me 12, and it did. I forgot to clear last time. That's okay. You can see where the 12 is. Division is a little bit weird because you're going to see some different things. A divided by B gives me 0.75. That's 3 divided by 4. However, look what happens if I use the percent. I get 3. Why would that be? Well, there's one other division thing that we need to know about that I'll put together with this. If I do A /B, I get 0. Oh, I know why that is. I was thinking I should get 1. So the double slash and the percentage has to do with modular division or modulus division. A /B is saying how many complete B's go into A, and in this case it's 0. And then the percentage sign is how much is left over after the division is done. So first I want to go back and change this. Instead of being A /B, let's do B /A. And how many times does 3 go into 4? The answer is 1. I should also, let's make D equal to B %A. And we are going to print C, comma D. So it's going to print 2 things out. And you should get 1 and 1. And sure enough, we do. B divided by A. Complete A's go into B once. So complete 3's go into 4 once. And then there's 1 unit left over. And that's how that works. Okay, that's cool for math. Great. But now we want to do some math with our input and output. And I'm warning you right now that I'm going to do something where I'm more or less intentionally trying to trick you. I apologize ahead of time about what you might expect to happen versus what actually does happen. So first, let's just get some input from the user. We'll, just call it A again. We'll get into better naming conventions for our variables later. But A is equal to input, parentheses, quotes, let's say pick a number. So in theory, the user will follow directions and pick a number. And then I'm going to have B be equal to 3 times that number. 3 times A. And then we're going to print B. So think ahead. What should we get? So when I run this program, it says pick a number. I have to click down here so it can take my input. And let's pick the number 12. I like the number 12. And 3 times 12 is 36. And I got 12, 12, 12. Why is that? So I said there was going to be a little bit of a trick and that the answer would not be what you expected it to be. And here's why. When I do input, it wants to do some sort of string. So what I need to do is, if I want to make this an integer, instead of A equals input, pick a number, I'm going to do A is equal to int, oops, and then put parentheses around the whole thing. And now when we try again, pick a number 12, now it actually tells me 36. So when you create your own variables, it'll just kind of do the variable type that you want, at least most of the time. I'm sure there's exceptions to this. When you are looking for user input to store into variables, remember the input function takes it as a string. If you want it to be something else, you have to change it to something else. So int makes it an integer. We can also insist that things be strings. We can take integers and turn them into strings. A lot of different things we'll be able to do down the road. But for today, I just wanted to give you a quick intro to how variables work in Python, a little bit of math, and of course, some tricks for input and output. So hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you learned a lot. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, I'll see you later.